Hello, I'm Shannon Alt, and my research proposal for research methods is called Designing Library Exhibits for Engagement. Thank you for joining me. The goal of a library exhibit is to interest audiences of all backgrounds and promote learning, understanding, and hopefully discourse. To do so, librarians should design exhibits in an inviting and visually appealing manner to inspire curiosity and engagement. The purpose of this study is to gain insight into the impact of the design and content of a library exhibit on different types of patron engagement, particularly affective, cognitive, and behavioral. Affective engagement is the patron's emotional reaction, experience, and overall interest. Cognitive refers to the mental processes involved in a learning activity and is characterized by attention, reading, and thinking about the content. Behavioral engagement refers to observable actions and interactions, such as discussion. The framework I am using for this study is called the multidimensionality of engagement. It comes from the field of education, where it is used as a method to study children in learning environments. Most research regarding library exhibits focuses on providing guidelines and examines the issues librarians face while constructing an exhibit. But there's a lack of thorough and reliable data when it comes to patron engagement with the finished product. I hope to fill this research gap by recording adult patrons on camera as they explore two different exhibits on the same topic. One exhibit using textbook facts to educate, and the other using personal stories to connect with patrons. I'll note the length of engagement and exhibited behaviors, followed by their participation in a questionnaire to assess patrons' emotional response. My research question is, how does the design and layout of research library exhibits affect patron engagement? So why is this important? This case study will provide evidence of best practices and give librarians the tools to measure the effectiveness of their exhibit at connecting with audiences. It also brings observational practices commonplace in museum studies to the field of library science. I'll be using a qualitative research approach, which will allow me to analyze observable human behaviors and interpret thoughts, feelings, and experiences using collection methods like observation and questionnaires. A case study design will be applied because it supports the in-depth examination of a specific situation in its natural context to capture its complexity and improve understanding of the processes at work. The design is well suited to taking a thorough look at my research question by collecting data and analyzing it for patterns and themes. While this particular design helps to limit the scope of the research, it can still be a time-consuming process. So all available patrons over the age of 18 are deemed participants in the study if they walk near the library exhibit's case within range of the motion sensors. I'll have a sign posted above the display case stating this area is under video surveillance for research purposes, thus informing patrons of their participation. So I'm still working out the details of how to allow people to opt out of participation and also how to differentiate children to make sure we're not breaching any ethical issues. Probability sampling will be used, which means that every adult patron has an equal chance to be included if they visit the institution during the study's timeframe. This case study will be conducted over the span of 2 weeks or until 100 adults are captured on video surveillance for each exhibit, and at least 20 participants have completed the questionnaire per exhibit. So my data collection methods. For this study, I'm using observation and questionnaires. This study will gather data using unobtrusive observation with the help of motion-activated cameras to record patron interactions with the exhibits. This method will help capture more detailed data, such as body language and gaze direction. Observations will be also used to measure the time patrons spend engaging with various sections of the exhibits. Cross-sectional questionnaires were selected to assess patrons' thoughts and emotional responses. This is due to the ease of distributing and collecting a large number of responses without the researcher having to be present. Patrons will access the questionnaire via a QR code located inside the exhibit case. Physical copies will also be available for 2 weeks at service desks in the library. So using this method, the neutral open-ended questions are posed in a standardized way. The data is already in written form, simplifying the coding process for this research. So data analysis. The videotaped observations will be processed to classify data according to the frequency of specific observed behaviors related to affective, cognitive, and behavioral engagement, such as facial expressions, body language, and discussion. The length of time spent standing in front of and looking at sections of each exhibit will also be noted and compared. The questionnaires will be analyzed using thematic coding to identify emerging patterns, trends, and relationships to make the data more manageable and understandable. The various codes will then be organized into groups of concepts, and the frequency of each code will be compared between the control and case study exhibits. This will help identify differences and similarities in the cognitive, affective, and behavioral engagement patterns among these two types of exhibits. So thank you for your time, and I really appreciate you joining me for this video.